So Republicans have been accusing President Obama of many, many things. Marxist, believes in Reverend Wright and Alinsky and socialist and blah, 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 blah. Well, of course, none of those proved to be true. Oh, my God, how about the Hobbit homes and the FEMA camps? Hey, when are those opening up? Tick-tock. President Obama doesn't have a lot of time. When is he going to finally spring this surprise on conservatives and everyone else? I believe Louis Gohmert thought that he was going to reconstitute the Ottoman Empire. Okay, when does he put on the Sultan hat and take over? Well, now they're very worked up about that deal with Iran. They act like they just found out that we gave Iran $400 million back. It was their money. We'd been keeping it since 1979. As part of that deal, we returned their money to them, and they had this new outrage over it. Oh, my God, how could you ever give anybody's money back? We had rightfully stolen that money. Okay, so, and we got hostages back. Oh, my God, you returned money that was rightfully theirs, and according to all international law, everyone else agrees it was theirs. And in return, you got something great for us? How dare you? So Representative Lee Zeldin from New York, a Republican from New York, writes or says, when deals like this are cut, one has to truly wonder whether the president has no idea what he's doing, or if he knows exactly what he's doing and is playing for some other team. And that is an unbelievable comment. What other team? Who's he playing for? Presumably, he's saying here that he's playing for the other team of Iran. Really? The President of the United States, who's been in office now for over 7 years, is secretly an Iranian agent? Look, that is a charge so outrageous that in the past, there would have been calls for impeachment of the congressman. How could you say this about the president? What an insane, I mean, forget how offensive it is. It shows you that this man, this congressman, might be a lunatic. That he really was like, oh my, is he part of Homeland? What's going on here? Is he a secret double agent, etc.? Now, there's another component to it. It's obviously based partly on race or the background of at least President Obama's father, that he originally came from Kenya. Now, of course, his mother's from Kansas. They never talk about that. Because for all of the unbelievable charges that they levied against Bill Clinton or even Hillary Clinton, who they can't stand, they never accused them of being an agent of the terrorist or Iran or anyone else. What's the difference between Bill Clinton and Barack Obama? Can't quite figure it out. Now, obviously, his background is why these charges stick in some Republicans' minds. Now, when you bring that up to the congressman, he turns it around. This is a classic conservative trick. He says, you can easily argue that the President of the United States is a racist with his policies and his rhetoric. So, okay. So they think this is a clever trick. So I'll give you an example. We'll use an extreme example just to make it clear. So let's say someone, congressman or otherwise, someone says of President Obama, he's a no-good N-word. Then you go, hey, wait a minute. Now that sounds like that would be a little racial, right? You just used the N-word and you called him that. That sounds racist. You go, you mentioned race. That's why you're the racist. No, but wait a minute. I'm not the one who called anybody the N-word. You are. No, you mentioned it again, proving again that you're the racist. No, you're the one who brought it up. So in this case, now back to reality, here we have a guy saying like, I wonder if he's working for the other team. Okay, now of all the Democrats you've hated, you never said that about him, except for the guy named Barack Obama. Okay. So can you not see why we would be concerned that that might be racial? Racist! No. Okay. You guys are the ones bringing it up in the first place. It's very, very clear. Now, okay, so this guy's a lunatic, lizard people, all that stuff, and Hobbit homes and stuff. But he doesn't really represent all Republicans, does he? Hold. According to a poll released at the beginning of July, 55% of Republican voters agree with Donald Trump that President Obama sympathizes with ISIS. 55% of Republicans believe that President Obama sympathizes with the worst terrorists in the world. No, these are bad guys. It's one thing to have disagreements. It's another thing to be this maniacal. And this is bad intent. They're bad actors. Look, give you one other example. George W. Bush. The guy bungled everything you've ever seen. And even Republicans agree by the time he left office, his approval rating was in the 20s. The entire country said, yeah, not that guy. That guy was a disaster. Now everybody agrees in hindsight to what we had said ahead of time, which is the Iraq war was a colossal blunder. But did anybody accuse George W. Bush of working with our enemies, being in cahoots with the terrorists, Iran, any of those things? No. Why? I mean, look, if you wanted to help the terrorists, you know what you would have done? You would have invaded Iraq and made such a mess of it that something like ISIS would rise up. And in the meanwhile, you would have been distracted and not caught bin Laden at all. Now, that's what Bush did. Now, do I think he worked with the terrorists? Of course not. He was just a serial bungler. He was a fool and had no idea what he was doing. But we would have never made that charge. And by the way, if you want to talk about being in league with a Muslim nation, George W. Bush was funded, his oil projects in Texas, well before he became president, was funded by the Saudis. Later, after 9/11, who's the first set of people George Bush gets out of the country? The Saudis. Who does he walk around with during his term many times at Crawford with, literally holding hands with? The Saudis. But yet, with a guy with that much evidence that he has had a long-term relationship with the Saudis, and he gets them out of the country. When we were investigating Saudis after 9/11, he escorted them out. But yet, no one says he's working with the other team. He's with the terrorists. He sympathizes with the other team. But they do for Barack Obama. And you're telling me it's not about race, it's not about his background. The only way you think that is if you are just as blinded as these Republicans and think, nope, I see no evil, I hear no evil, except for Obama. He's really evil. Gee, I wonder why you think that.